Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Gold. It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, this is the episode that did not want to happen. And in all honesty, I would re-record it if I could, but I can't because I saved, and I'm an idiot. And there was something that I did in this episode that I can't... Actually, there were most of the episode that I did that I can't redo. Basically what I'm saying is that this episode is post-commentated, and I really wanted to keep my real commentary because I thought it was really good, and I thought it was really inspired, but, unfortunately, I can't, and that really sucks. Now, in Union Cave, this is our first stop. We are going to go and catch a wild Pokemon. This wild Pokemon will only appear on Fridays, and I ran out of repels, so I need to go and refill on them. So, this wild Pokemon will only appear on Fridays, and it is a Pokemon that I know a lot of people love. I love as well. I actually considered using it on my team, but I didn't want to have two Ice-type Pokemon, or else I would be a little unbalanced, so I decided to keep it off. Now, there are quite a few trainers in this area. I'm going to be mostly, like, skipping them for as much as I can. Mind you, if I ran into a battle, most of the time I didn't cut it out, I don't believe. But this episode really didn't want to happen because, well, the first time I tried recording it, I wasn't recording the video, and then I realized that about halfway through, so I had to stop and reset my game and then redo all of it. And then I realized that the second time, I was recording my audio, but I was recording it directly off of my webcam, and I was standing like a good 6 or 7 feet from my computer, and the volume on my webcam is really, really quiet, so it was incomprehensible, basically. I cranked up the volume as much as I could. I tried, like, clarifying it because there was a lot of noise in the background as well, but I just couldn't get it to be comprehensible, essentially, is what I'm saying, which is really unfortunate, because I really like the commentary that I had, but, you know, there's sometimes you can't do everything. Now this is the Pokemon that I've been looking for. It's my clone! It's my blue clone! So I'm gonna stick Hex up front, because Hex is basically the only thing that can possibly not one-shot this, because it is a Water-Ice type Pokemon. By the way, it's Lapras, if you can't tell already, if you don't know what a Lapras is. It's a level 20 Ice-Water type Pokemon, or Water-Ice, I believe it is, actually. And unfortunately I got a male. Would prefer a female because, I don't know, people have been saying things to me about Lapras that are like, oh, well, it should be a female, in all honesty. Lapras should always be female, but whatever. Now, basically, I got this on the second catch, and I was super surprised because I was basically going to try and Ice Punch it if I couldn't catch it after 10 times. I was expecting it to take quite a while to catch this thing, but it didn't, and I was really fortunate in that way. And in all honesty, Lapras was one of the Pokemon that I really wanted to use on my team, because it's a very bulky Water-type Pokemon, but it's also, like, a very good special attacker. It learns a lot of unique moves. I know especially in Generation 3, I believe it is, it learns the move Perish Song, which, if you don't know what that does, that actually will make both sides of your team, of the battlefield faint after 3 turns. So basically, the point is you try and trap a Pokemon in for 2 turns, by using a move that prevents it from switching, or having a Pokemon that prevents it from switching, or something like that. And then, by trapping it in, it will kill it after 3 turns if it's a bulky Pokemon. And I nicknamed it Tessie after the Earthbound Loch Ness monster, essentially, because Earthbound is awesome. I have 100% correlation between the people that I know who have played Earthbound and the people that I know who love Earthbound. So if you have not played that game, I would definitely suggest giving it a try for sure. Probably on my list of one of the games to LP eventually, but the game that I'm LPing next is a secret to everybody, so yeah. I think I told one person, but that is one of the 2 games that I'm doing next, so yeah. by the way, today is Friday, November 15th. I'm going to try and get this episode out today, but I don't think that's possible because I'm going to a concert tonight. So it's a little bit unreasonable to think that it might be able to be out today, because it's also like 4 in the afternoon, and it takes a while to render, and it takes a while to upload and stuff like that. I don't want to put out an episode at like 8 p.m. because then nobody's going to see it or something like that. I don't know. Oh, I need water. Got cotton mouth for some reason. I had that while I was recording too, so that makes me a little bit glad that I had to scrap the commentary for that, because there were like probably at least 15 instances where I would stop for like 10 or 15 seconds while I was recording and have to take a drink of water because I'm just retarded like that. But yeah, it's been a very good week for me, and I've really enjoyed my week. I also can't believe that it's been like a month since I've been LPing this game. Like, holy crap, where does the time go? Because it feels like just yesterday that I started it, to me. And, I mean, I love this LP so much. This was probably my favorite LP that I've done so far. This one or Donkey Kong Country 3, because, like, they're LPs that, for games that I absolutely love, and, they actually turn out well, because Super Metroid is a game that I absolutely love to death, and I don't think that turned out well. Basically, the only reason I did Donkey Kong Country 1 and Donkey Kong Country 2 is so that I could do 3, because I believe in continuity, essentially, is what I'm saying. And no, I'm not talking about, like, the law of conservation of mass for anybody who's a fluid dynamics geek like I am. No, I'm not talking about the law of continuity. I'm talking about, like, playing games in order, essentially. Which, this will become apparent in the near future. Not the near future, but, like, within the next month or two. I'm not talking, like, a week or anything like that, but, yeah, it'll become apparent in the future, that I do like to do continuity in games, like, do them in order, in the way they were intended to be done. Now, that being said, when I'm doing Wind Waker, I did that game because it just came out, and it's a game that I love so much. In all honesty, like, if you're playing Zelda games in order, I don't really know if you would start with Skyward Sword, or if you would start with the original Legend of Zelda, because Skyward Sword is the first one in the timeline, and the original Legend of Zelda is the first one that was made. Now, by the way, these puzzles, I had a surprisingly easy time with. I think the hardest one I had to do was the one of Ho-Oh, which I still had an easier time than the Kabuto puzzle, either way. Like, there were a few instances where I'd put the thing in the wrong place, but that's because it was like an initial educated guess as to where it would go. Like, oh, it sort of belongs along the side, so I'll put it near the side. And, like, when I was doing these puzzles also, the commentary was downright horrible, because I was just like, oh, this piece might go here, or it might go here, and this is stuff, don't fucking know anything. I don't know, guys. I'm just retarded or something. I'm not very good at puzzles, as you can probably tell by, like, this game or, like, any other game I've played that has any form of a puzzle. I'm really bad at them. But whatever, I mean, it's not a huge deal. Most games that I play, puzzles are a very minor aspect. Like, for example, like the Banjo-Kazooie games. Like, I've never played the original Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Tooie, it does have puzzles in it, and, like, those puzzles are relatively easy. They do become harder over time, but I mean, it's nothing that's going to, like, give you a ton of trouble or anything like that. They make them easy so that it's just sort of a fun little aspect along with the game, but it's not stressful or anything like that, which they did a very good job of in those games, I do want to say. But while we are busting around, just going through the puzzles of the Ruins of Alph, I do want to talk about some of the Pokemon that I would like to give honorable mention to, because they're Pokemon that I really wanted to use but did not make it on my team. By the way, what I just showed there essentially was that was the area where we just came out of from the last cave. So first and foremost, the Pokemon that probably came closest to being on my team, but I couldn't have it on my team because I didn't want to have 2 Psychic-type Pokemon, and that was Slowbro. Slowbro I absolutely love as a Pokemon. If I had to make a top 10 list, it would be definitely in the top 5. I don't know about number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or anything like that, but I know it would definitely crack the top 5. And I fell in love with Slowbro the last time I played Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which was the second time I played Heart Gold and Soul Silver, because I've only played that game twice. But I fell in love with it then because I just decided, like, you know, I go through Slowpokes well every time. I always run into Slowpokes there. I might as well try and catch one at some point. And, you know, I'd seen... This is after I started getting into watching people play Wi-Fi battling, or like doing a little bit of Wi-Fi battling, and every time I would pick a random team and go in a random battle on like Pokemon Showdown, I would get like, and I would get a Slowbro on my team. I would be like, yes, I finally got a really good Pokemon. So I decided, you know what, I will actually use one on my team for once, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, Slowbro it's bulky, it can like attack as well. It's got tons of HP. It's got moves that can let it just tank for days. It's got moves that will let it sweep, stuff like that. It's got a very diverse move set, is basically what I'm saying, and it's very diverse in its well, in its typing as well as its stat distribution. Now, the biggest problem with Slowbro is that, as its name sort of implies, it's slow as balls. Like, holy crap, the thing is so frickin' slow, it's ridiculous. And, you know, they've fixed this in Generation 4 because they introduced the move Trick Room, which I believe Slowbro can learn, but I'm not 100% sure, because I don't think I've ever tried using Trick Room on a Slowbro before. But, I mean, I have tried using Trick Room teams, and those do work quite well, actually. Because generally Pokemon that are slow are also Pokemon that are very good in stats, like such as there's Slowbro, yeah, but there's also like Snorlax, who's very, very good, but he's very, very slow. And Snorlax was another one that I was thinking of having on my team. In all honesty, if I managed to catch that Snorlax in front of Diglett's cave that killed my entire team, which was like, I think that was the only game over I got in the entire LP, was against that Snorlax, which I am quite impressed with myself with, because I never cut out any gym battles or any battles or anything like that. I kept it all in, and like, I think that was the only Pokemon that actually managed to kill my entire team, and I was actually planning on getting rid of Hubjub and using a Snorlax on my team instead. Now, I know it's a little sacrilegious to go and get rid of your starter, but you know what? Hubjub, in all honesty, if you're going to get rid of any starter in any game, it's going to be Meganium, because Meganium, it's a good Pokemon. It's bulky, and it's got some good moves. It's got like 3 good moves that it can learn, like Earthquake, Body Slam, and whatever the other move I had was on it, I don't remember. Giga Drain, that's it. But the biggest problem with Giga Drain is it's only got 5 power points, it's only got 60 power, so it's not that great of a grass move. Basically what I'm saying is that it can't learn any good grass moves. I'm not sure if it can learn Solar Beam, but Solar Beam is a little bit crippled by the fact that you either need to have the sun out, which is difficult in Generation 2 because there's not the ability Drought, or you have to like, you have to have the sun out, essentially, to make the move useful, or else it'll take 2 turns to go, and it like, doesn't raise your defense or anything like that, like, what's Skull Bash, that's the move I'm thinking of, that raises your defense, while you're sitting there charging, so you don't just sit there and, like, take hits and die in the process of using Skull Bash. Solar Beam just sort of leaves you defenseless for a turn, and you do nothing, which definitely cripples it a lot. But yeah, I was gonna get rid of my starter, Hubjub, to get a Snorlax, and I'm actually really glad that I didn't catch that Snorlax, because I would've, and I probably would've regretted it. because I love my Hubjub, and honestly, if I had to change anything about my team, it would be that I would keep them all the same. There's sort of like a saying that I've heard that essentially things will the biggest change you can make is staying exactly the same, or something along those lines. And that's basically meaning that like everybody around you and the world around you will change, but what I'm trying to say is, like, the world will change, but you'll stay the same, but the world will feel as though you're the one who's changed, as opposed to them. And yay, a useless phone call from Mom for no reason. There's something really funny that happens at the end of the episode with this, by the way. I shouldn't spoil it or anything like that, but I think I just did. Anyways, but yeah, I love my team as it was, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. Another one of the Pokemon, though, that does get honorable mention is Arcanine. Arcanine was very close to being on my team as a Fire-type Pokemon. Essentially, the only reason that I didn't put it on my team was because... how do I say it? God, I just totally lost my train of thought there. It's because it's difficult to find Firestones in this generation of games. Like, in the original generation, you could just go and you could buy them. In this generation, I really just don't know where you can get a Firestone off the top of my head. There's probably somewhere in Kanto where you can find them, but in all honesty, it's so late in the game. Growlithe isn't that great of a Pokemon, and you can't be crippled with a Growlithe at the Pokemon League, or like so far into the game that it's going to cripple your entire team. That's most of the reason why. And also, I didn't have a Generation 1 game that I could use to trade between the two, because I do have the Game Boy player for the GameCube. That's what I've been playing on this entire LP, and I do have a link cable, and I do have a Game Boy Advance, so there would have been a way to go and connect the games, but I just don't have a copy of Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow that I could have used to trade something. Which is a little bit, it's a little bit annoying, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. But another one of the Pokemon that I would like to give honorable mention to is Muck. Muck, I really thought about using on my team because it's a special defense wall, and it is a great Pokemon. Most of the reason that I didn't use it is because if I had a Muck on my team, I wouldn't have a flying type, because I would have got rid of Crobat. And as a result, like, it's too convenient to be able to fly everywhere. I mean, in all honesty, if you've ever played a Pokemon game without Fly, it's, oh my god, it's painful. I mean, it's frickin' painful. That being said, like, you could catch a bitch for Fly. I could have caught, like, a Zubat or, like, a Pidgey or something like that and just used it for Fly. But I didn't. I decided to use Crobat. And you know what? Crobat is one of my favorite Pokemon as well. If I had to make a top 10 list, it would definitely make the top 10, Crobat, because I think I've proven to people that Crobat is a monster. By the way, I just want to talk about this for a second. What is in this house? Basically, what we have done is we have gone through and completed these puzzles, and now we can find all 26 species, well, 26 out of the 28 species of Unknown. Now, you can find the letters A through Z in correspondence to these Unknown. Once you catch all of these Unknown, I'm not sure if you have to catch one or if you have to catch all 26, but if you go in to that house and talk to those guys, they will give you an Unknown Pokedex. And this, I believe, will unlock the exclamation mark and question mark Unknowns, which are absolutely no different from the other ones, I believe. Now, I'm not going to bother and go through and do this because it's far too time consuming. I mean, this takes hours and hours and hours, and it's so painful. But I mean, it's really just not worth it, and I don't know why anyone would bother other than just completionist's sake. Now, for this next area we're going into Mount Mortar, and I'm going to warn you, I get lost in here a lot because I just don't remember it. But because of the circumstances of Mount Mortar and what we're doing, I have to deposit most of my Pokemon. So I'm going to deposit Hex, Matto, Derpasaur, and Hubjub. These Pokemon will never be seen again, probably. I'm not going to lie to you. But because of Mount Mortar, we need Surf, we need Waterfall, we sort of need Strength as well, and we need Flash. Like, Strength is optional. I don't think I used Strength in here once, but I mean, it's good to have just in case, because it does create some shortcuts. And because of what we're doing, we also need one free slot. That is because there is something secret that I will explain as we get there. So yeah, basically, the 4 Pokemon that I've talked about, well, 5 actually, I've talked about Lapras, Slowbro, Arcanine, Muck, and God, who the hell was the last one that I talked about? I don't remember. Anyways, Starmie should also get some honorable mention, because Starmie is an awesome Pokemon. I really wanted to use it because I'd never used one before on my team, because I've never been able to find one before. I've heard they're quite difficult to find, but I mean, it's worth it in the long run. But, I mean, all these Pokemon, most of them are water types that I was thinking of using. In all honesty, Tentacruel was sort of, it was almost a last resort Pokemon. That being said, like, I'd used one, I think once before. I'm not too sure, I can't really remember, because it's hard to remember every single Pokemon that you've used before and which ones you haven't. But, I mean, it kind of came off as a last resort. That was definitely the last Pokemon that I picked on my team. And I mostly had it because of the fact that it would have been difficult to find any other water type. I was going to use Poliwrath, I believe it was. I don't remember if it was Poliwrath or Politoed that I was going to use. And it was sort of evident by the fact that I picked up a Poliwhirl near the start of the game. And I decided not to use them because it is too difficult to find a Water Stone. Again, a lot of these Pokemon that I wanted to use, I couldn't use because of the stones. Like, for example, Starmie. I mean, I know Starmie is also a Psychic-type Pokemon, but you know what? Tentacruel was also Poison-type Pokemon. I had 2 Poison-type Pokemon on my team. I don't regret that at all, because, in all honesty, they both sort of half-acted like Poison-type Pokemon. They didn't really have any... Well, I mean, they each had 1 Poison-type move. Bats didn't even have a damaging Poison-type move, so... I mean, Toxic you can teach to pretty much anything. Like, most Pokemon can learn Toxic. So it's not a big deal to find something to use Toxic with. But there's a lot of Pokemon that I wanted to use. I wanted to use some Pokemon just for shits and giggles, like Unknown. I wanted to use Smeargle. I wanted to use, like, Stantler, because I'd never used a Stantler before. What else was there? There were a lot of random, ridiculous Pokemon that I just wanted to use, because why the hell not? I don't know. That being said, like, one of my subscribers, I think his name is Edward Bottle, I want to say. I'm really bad at remembering people's YouTube IDs. I'm really sorry. But he is doing a terrible Pokemon Ruby LP, and it's really funny because, like, these Pokemon are so bad, and he's, like, managing to get through. I think he spent, like, hours trying to find a frickin' Nosepass because it's such a bad Pokemon to use on his team. Which, it's so ironic to go and do that, is to spend hours to find a Pokemon that's really bad so that you can use it on your team and you'll hate it because it sucks. But in all honesty, this is probably one of the better ones that he's using, like Masquerain, Mawile, I think was on there as well. I don't remember the other ones, but I need to watch that more because it's really funny. Anyways, what was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, well, I get lost in this cave quite a bit, and it's probably very evident. Near the first part of this cave, like, I try and show off most of the things, like most of the items that you can find on the side chambers, but, when you actually, like, try and go into the cave and do things, like, you can find Pokemon and items. I totally lost my train of thought there. I'm so sorry. Like, what the hell's wrong with me today? I have no brain today. That's basically the conclusion I've come to, because today I've been staring at people's papers that they've written as like PhD theses. Like I've been reading these things all day, and I've been doing research and stuff on like carbon fiber under large deflections, and to find an approximate force that you put on for like to break carbon fiber. Do you know how difficult that is? Like, holy crap, there's like statistics in there, and like there's statistics of like, okay, there's many layers of this composite material, and which one will break first, how will it break, under what type of compressive load will it break, will it plastically deform first, all this random crap. Like, I mean, looking through these papers is very difficult as it is, but I mean, like, they're so hard to read because A, they're so long, and B, a lot of them are really boring and don't have any relevant material to what you need. So it's really difficult. But thank God that Snowball can learn Waterfall. The reason that I'm teaching it Waterfall is because I'm never going to use this thing. Every Pokemon game I've ever played, I never use the legendary Pokemons. Like, I always at least try and catch them at least one time in each generation, but I never use them, and I don't know why. It's mostly probably because of the fact that they level up really slowly. They take so much experience to level up, and when you get them initially, they're already so high leveled that, I mean, it's already difficult to train them as it is, so there's that difficulty, as well as like just having the patience to go and level them up. By the way, anybody who knows where you're supposed to go here is probably screaming at their monitors right now. And I was playing the game with one hand and trying to drink water at the same time. It's like, oh my god, all these things happened. Like, the screen went widescreen, and like, my repel ran out. It was just a nightmare all at once. It was horrible. But one thing I do want to mention, I did mention wanting to have an Arcanine on my team, and that the only reason that I didn't want to have it on my team was because of not being able to find a Firestone. You know, that's not necessarily true. The reason that I didn't want Arcanine on my team is because I wanted a Magmar. Now, I did get a message from a couple of people. I know Melinda Cook sent me a message. She always messages me. She's awesome. But she sent me a message like, please, can you try and catch a Magmar? And she was the one who named my Magmar, and I was really thankful for the nickname suggestion, and I really like it. I think it's a great homage to what she wanted to name it after. But, I mean, I did get messages saying that, please catch a Magmar, and I'm like, you'll see what my next Pokemon is, don't worry. And I was just waiting for them to be like, oh my god, you caught a Magmar. I was planning on catching a Magmar all along. Like, not that your suggestions didn't have any influence. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say that, like, I love Magmar as a Pokemon. It's an awesome Pokemon. I love Magmortar as a Pokemon, too. Although it just looks like a lot of the Generation 4 Pokemon that they've made, it pretty much just looks like they're trying to make fat versions of the Pokemon. That's the way my sister described it, and I thought that was kind of funny, because it's pretty much true. Like, if you look at, like, Licky Licky, it's like a fat Lickitung. Magmortar's like a fat Magmar. What else? Gliscor's like Gligar on crack, or Gligar, or however you say its name, or whatever. It's like that thing on crack. And I mean, there's so many Generation 4 Pokemon that are really awesome, but there's so many that are really uncreative, and it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of Pokemon from every generation that are really uncreative. Like, there's for example, in Generation 6, there's, I'm trying to think of one that's uncreative. Wow, I really can't think of anything. Tyrantium's a little uncreative. They pretty much just took a T-Rex and slapped on a color palette on it. The Bergmite, I think it is. It's like a little iceberg, essentially. A lot of the ice-type Pokemon as of late haven't been terribly creative. There was the Cupcake Pokemon, I thought that was really funny when I saw that. I nearly shit my pants when I saw that Pokemon, but whatever. We're pretty much at the end of the cave here, by the way. And I'm sorry this has taken so long. Like, you could probably get through here in 2 minutes if you actually know what you're doing. As it's probably evident, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I apologize for that, but like, jeez, I had fun exploring. That's what I'm saying. And it's really unfortunate that I did pretty much lose the commentary for this. But at the same time, like, it did give me some time to talk about the LP and reflect and like give like a shout out to some of the Pokemon that I wanted to have on my team, but didn't get a chance to. There's also like Raichu that I wanted to have on my team. I've never used a Raichu before, but this is a guy that we wanted to come here all the time to fight. And in all honesty, I had Snowball out because I thought this guy's Pokemon were in the level 60s. And you'll see what level they are in just a second. Hitmonlee, level 34. Like, I definitely over-prepared for this fight. And I feel really retarded for it. But you know what? It's not a big deal. And pretty much this fight was the only reason... Well, this fight and the puzzles. Like, the puzzles I could have probably, like, just cropped in part of the video. And talked over it. But, like, this fight and getting the Tyrogue was the one reason that I didn't just redo the episode, is because I did save at the end. Like, I saved after I ended the video, but I ended up with a total playtime of 35 hours and 58 minutes, by the way, which I could flash up a photo. I'll flash up a photo at the end of the episode just to show that, because, I mean, that's not a great playtime, but it's not horrible. I mean, it's not completely horrible, is what I'm trying to say. Bats grew to level 56. I gained 2 levels in this video somehow, even though I only fought like 6 Pokemon. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I got some money for winning, blah blah blah. I'm crushed! My training is still not enough. But a loss is a loss, I admit it. As proof that you defeated me, I'll give you a rare fighting type Pokemon. And Kevdog received a Tyrogue. Yes, we got Tyrogue. Tyrogue is an interesting Pokemon, to say the least. And it's interesting in its evolution scheme. Basically, when it levels up, and by the way, this Pokemon was a pain in the butt to get, so I'm naming it Hemorrhoids, because hemorrhoids are a pain in the butt. I just thought I'd note that. Also, if you look on Bulbapedia, its picture shows it like with it bent over and its butt in the air. It's kind of funny. But Tyrogue is an interesting Pokemon because at level 20 it evolves, and if its attack stat is higher than its defense stat, then it will evolve into Hitmonlee. And if its defense stat is higher than its attack stat, then it will evolve into Hitmonchan. And if the 2 stats are equal, it'll evolve into Hitmontop. And that is the way to get those Pokemon. You can get a Ditto and breed this thing, I believe. Tyrogue itself, you cannot breed because it's a baby Pokemon. I don't think you can breed any baby Pokemon. Yeah, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, I believe, are 100% male, so you need a Ditto to breed them. But that's pretty much it that I had for this episode. I believe I got everything. Well, I showed off every area. I know I said I was gonna go and redo the Whirl Islands, and I may do that eventually. But I mean, I've gone in there at least, so I'm personally satisfied with that. Gotta make one last stop in my favorite city in any Pokemon game because I just want to. Now that we just stopped there for 4 seconds, let's go back to New Bark Town, because there's one last thing I want to do. I want to see how much money my mom gave me, and I'm going to see if I can keep this reaction, because it was really funny. Welcome home, you're trying hard, I see. I kept your room tidy, blah blah blah. How much money did you give me, bitch? Get money, I think, is what I want. And I'll see if I can splice it in. Yup, I got $160,000 at the end of the LP. No big deal. So that is pretty much it for Pokemon Gold. I don't think I'll be returning to Pokemon Gold. I may after a while. And random phone call from Liz Picnicker. How are things? You want to battle? I'm going to win this time. I'll be waiting for you around Route 32. Look for me, okay? You know what, Liz? I don't want to battle you. And it's because I want to leave that a mystery as to how high level your Pokemon got. But that's pretty much it for Pokemon Gold. I don't think I'm going to be returning. I may do a couple Pokemon Showdown episodes, but I'm not too sure. But thank you guys very much for watching this LP. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed doing this, and I really enjoyed doing this bonus episode, despite all the troubles I had trying to do it, and all the post-commentary, which I was really bummed that I did have to do post-commentary, but I mean, it's one of those things like, well, what are you gonna do, right? I didn't really have control over it, but I will hopefully be doing another Pokemon LP eventually, and if I do, I'll let you know in advance, just to prepare your brains for such ossitude. But, yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. And thank you guys for watching. And as always, goodbye, and have a wonderful tomorrow.